Good morning, dear cadets. Today we will solve one problem that is based on geometrical meaning of cross product, and here it is a triple product. There are three vectors, and after solving this problem, we will learn the relation between angular velocity and linear velocity based on cross product. Okay, first let us see an example. Show that vector A dot. There are three vectors. These three vectors, vector A, vector B, vector C, are going to be the sides of a parallelepiped. Show that vector A dot B cross C is equal in magnitude to the volume of parallelepiped formed on the three vectors, formed with the help of three vectors as the sides of a parallelepiped. So you have to prove that the triple product vector A dot B cross C is the volume of a parallelepiped, out of which vector A, B and C are the sides. So let us first know that yesterday we have seen if B and C are the two sides with an angle theta between them, then vector B cross C gives us the area of the parallelogram, out of which B and C are the sides. So I have drawn vector B as the base and vector C as another side. So complete this parallelogram, draw a parallelogram and then join this. So vector B cross C gives us area of this parallelogram. We know that vector B cross C gives us vector B cross C magnitude, let us say magnitude gives us area of parallelogram. Then now I will draw vector A. Vector A I am drawing so that see this vector A becomes the third side. Vector A becomes the third side. Now, B cross C, if you take B cross C, if you take only B cross C, B cross C, we know by definition is BC sin theta. BC sin theta into unit vector n, where unit vector n is perpendicular to the plane containing B and C, right? So B cross C magnitude gives us area of this parallelogram. But what is the direction? Direction is L cap. L cap is directed vertically upwards. That is perpendicular to the plane of this. So I will draw this one as BC sin theta, or this one represents L cap. Direction of L cap, and the magnitude of this length is going to be BC sin theta. Magnitude of this one is BC sin theta. B cross C, magnitude is BC sin theta. Right. Now, if suppose the angle separated between this BC sin theta unit vector and the vector A, let us take this one as phi. Let us take that angle as phi. Now, if you construct a parallelepiped out of it, then I am drawing a parallel pivot. So draw parallel vector this. Yes. Then in the same manner we draw parallel down. This side parallel to this side. Then another side parallel to this, and one more parallel to this I have to draw. Parallel, then join this. This becomes the parallelepiped. Join this. This is parallelepiped. Now let me take this operation, vector A dot B cross C. What does it mean? Then vector A dot B cross C gives us, by definition, B cross C is BC sin theta, and A dot this gives us A cos alpha. Okay, A cos phi into BC sin theta, BC sin theta. This is the product. Now what is A cos alpha? Let us see from this diagram. If this is right angle triangle, look at this. I have drawn a perpendicular from this point O onto the upper surface. So the perpendicular, if you work it out from this triangle, will it not be A cos phi? So it is appearing like this. This is A, and this is the perpendicular, and this is phi. So will it not be A cos phi? This perpendicular itself becomes A cos phi, and A cos phi from the diagram is the height. Height of the parallelepiped. And what is BC sin theta? BC sin theta is area of the base. Area of the base. This is the area. This is the area of the base. So this area is BC sin theta. We got it. So this area of the base multiplied by height, is it not giving you 1? Thus height into area of the base thus gives us volume of the parallelepiped. Volume of the parallelepiped. I think you need to draw the diagram clearly, so that volume of the parallelepiped is given by the vector A dot B cross C, where I have taken B along the base, length of the base, and C as the breadth of the base, vector C as the breadth of the base. When the angle between them is theta, then B cross C gives us BC sin theta, which is the area of this base. This area of the base multiplied by height definitely gives us the volume of the parallelepiped. So that height I have calculated. Height is calculated using this vector. This perpendicular which I have drawn, this perpendicular is A cos phi. So perpendicular A cos phi multiplied by area gives us the parallelepiped. A cos phi how did I get? That I got it from this definition of the scalar product. Vector A dot vector B is equal to AB cos phi, where the angle between B cross C and A is phi. So B cross C magnitude is area, and the direction is given by this unit vector. Direction is given by this unit vector. So this is the direction of B cross C vector. So this B cross C multiplied by A cos phi gives us the volume of the parallelepiped. So this is the geometrical meaning of triple product of vectors, vector triple product. So more of such kind of things you will learn in 12th class vectors. A separate topic is there where you are going to solve number of such problems. Now let us see the next one, very important thing, angular velocity. When a body undergoes a rotational motion, we have learned that when it undergoes a pure rotational motion, there is a fixed axis about which the body undergoes the rotational motion. Axis of rotation is fixed. Then I gave you example of fan. The ceiling fan undergoes pure rotational motion. There is a fixed axis about which the fan is pivoted vertically. The fan is pivoted vertically and the blades of the fan rotate about that axis of rotation. Fixed axis, right? Now, if you take any rigid body, then you will come to know that if that rigid body undergoes with some constant angular velocity omega, then all the particles of that body undergoing pure rotational motion also will have same angular velocity omega. Let us see. Consider a body, a rigid body which is undergoing pure rotational motion. Suppose it is undergoing pure rotational motion about this z axis. This is x axis and this is y axis. The vertical axis is z axis. And think that the axis of rotation passes through z axis. So it is undergoing rotational motion about this z axis. Then, if you consider any particle, any single particle, then this single particle, if you observe, this single particle undergoes circular motion. It undergoes circular motion when the rigid body undergoes rotational motion, pure rotational motion about the axis, fixed axis of rotation. This is the fixed axis of rotation. Consider the particle P. This particle undergoes circular motion. Right? Now, first we define what is angular velocity. Angular velocity is denoted by omega. We know that angular velocity is rate of change of angular displacement. Right? Initially, let us say that its perpendicular distance from the axis of rotation. Let us say this is the center and Cp is the perpendicular distance, which itself can be taken as the perpendicular distance of the point P of certain mass from the center, and this itself can be taken as radius, and this radius becomes the constant perpendicular distance when the particle is undergoing the circular motion. Means when the rigid body undergoes the pure rotational motion, all the particles of this rigid body will have their own circular motion about the fixed axis. Their centers will be on the axis of rotation. For example, if I take another particle, suppose this is another particle. If I consider this particle undergoes circular motion in the same sense. If it is rotated in this what you call anti-clockwise sense, then there is an anti-clockwise circular motion of this particle. Let us say Q. So here the perpendicular distance is different. So like that, every particle on this rigid body will have their own perpendicular distance from the axis of rotation, and each individual particle undergoes circular motion when the whole rigid body undergoes pure rotational motion. When the rigid body undergoes pure rotational motion about a fixed axis. The fixed axis here is z axis. Then the particles circular motion with their centers on the axis of rotation. Now consider only one particle. Suppose initially it is at this position P. After some time, suppose it has come to point P dash. Now position is shifted from P to P dash after some time delta t. Now suppose the angle separated here is delta theta. So I will draw that circular path separately. This is the circular path and this is the initial position P. Now it is shifted to P dash and the angle covered here is delta theta. Now delta theta is the angular displacement, right? Delta theta is the angular displacement of this particle P. Now we define what is angular velocity. Angular velocity by definition, angular velocity first we will define what is average angular velocity. Average angular velocity is denoted by omega bar. Omega is the notation for angular velocity. Here I use omega. Omega is the notation. Omega bar is equal to, by definition, delta theta by delta t. Angular displacement divided by time taken. Just like linear velocity, how we have defined linear displacement by time taken for that linear displacement. In the same way, angular velocity is defined as angular displacement divided by time taken. So delta theta is angular displacement. Angular displacement is nothing but angle covered in time delta t. If delta t tends to 0, then it is denoted by delta t is replaced by infinitesimal small time, that is dt, and delta theta will be infinitesimal small displacement d theta. Then we define angular velocity. This is average angular velocity. Now we define angular velocity. Angular velocity of this particle omega as equal to d theta by dt, rate of change of angular displacement, time rate of change of angular displacement. Angular displacement. Now we already know the relation between angular velocity and linear velocity. If you look at this diagram, if you draw a tangent here, the tangent drawn at the point P gives us the direction of linear velocity. So this gives us linear velocity. When the particle comes over here, draw the tangent. The tangent will be vertically outwards. Here it is vertically inwards. This is linear velocity P dash at another point here. So like that, we can calculate linear velocity. We can find out linear velocity by drawing a tangent. The tangent drawn at that point gives us linear velocity. Whereas the angular velocity, look at this, is although defined as time rate of change of angular displacement, it is a vector quantity. Angular velocity is a vector quantity. When it is a vector quantity, then what is its direction? What is its direction? Its direction is again given by right hand grip rule. If the body turns here in the anti-clockwise sense, see the thumb points upwards. When the body is rotating anti-clockwise, the thumb points vertically upwards. This gives you direction of angular velocity. So this is the direction of angular velocity. So if on the other hand the rigid body rotates in the clockwise sense, if the rigid body rotates in the clockwise sense, see the curling of my fingers. See, then the thumb points downwards, and the thumb points vertically downwards. This gives you direction of angular velocity when the rigid body turns in the clockwise sense. So, in a simple manner, suppose this is a disc, this is a rotating disc. If this rotating disc is in the anti-clockwise sense, and suppose this is the axis of rotation, see here, if it is rotating in the anti-clockwise sense, see here, if it is rotating in the anti-clockwise sense, see the thumb is pointing in this direction, thumb is pointing in this direction. This gives us direction of angular velocity. If on the other hand, same disc, suppose it is a rotating disc in the clockwise sense, this is anti-clockwise, or it is also called as counterclockwise. If it is clockwise, suppose this is rotating in the clockwise sense, like this. Then what is the direction? See here, this is the axis of rotation. Remember always, the angular velocity is always directed along the axis of rotation. See here, now it is rotating like this. See here, I am pulling this side. You have to use right hand. Rotate this, curling of the fingers in the clockwise sense. When the fingers are curling in the clockwise sense, then see the thumb. The thumb is pointing inwards. The thumb is pointing inwards. If you take the pen, that will be easy to understand. If it is clockwise sense, the thumb is pointing outwards. If it is anti-clockwise sense, the thumb is pointing outwards. Here it is inwards. So this gives us direction of omega vector. So it depends on, again, right-handed screw rule. Again, you can use right hand grip rule to find the direction of angular velocity. Now, what is the relation between the angular velocity and linear velocity? We know that from previous discussion. If v is the linear velocity, then v is equal to r omega. V equal to r omega, or v equal to omega r. Is the relation between where v is the magnitude of linear velocity, r is the perpendicular distance, that is radius, and omega is the angular velocity. Then, how to find out the direction? That is the next important thing. Now, if you consider a single particle, then suppose I am writing same thing again. Single particle undergoing circular motion in the rigid body, and this is the axis of rotation about the z-axis. Then this is the direction of angular velocity, right? It is undergoing anti-clockwise sense of rotational motion, anti-clockwise sense of circular motion. Then we get a relation here, that is, this is r, then if it is c, then cp is equal to r, this is omega. Then linear velocity is tangential, this is giving us linear velocity v. Then how to relate r, omega and v, that is our question. So here we take directly v is equal to omega cross r. Omega cross r. We are taking this perpendicular distance also as a vector quantity. If you extend this becomes the extended radius vector, or extended perpendicular distance, and this is the angle. You can take this angle as some angle phi, delta phi, or some angle phi. Then if you rotate omega cross r, omega cross r. Turn this omega towards r. See my thumb. When you turn, you extend your four fingers towards omega. This is omega. And turn this omega towards r. Yes. See the thumb. The thumb points inwards. So vertically inward direction gives us the velocity vector. See, this is how the linear velocity and angular velocity are related as a cross product of omega and r. Please don't change the order. It should be always maintained in the same order. So here V is perpendicular to omega vector and also perpendicular to r vector. So like this, there are number of particles. So for particle 1 of mass L1, let us say V1 is equal to omega cross R1, V2 equal to omega cross R2, because every particle has a different distance from the axis of rotation. So if you write only magnitude, then it will be V1 equal to omega R1 only magnitude, V2 equal to omega R2 and so on. So if nth particle is there, Vn equal to omega Rn. So what we are noting down here, as the distance of the particle varies from the axis of rotation, see here its linear velocity changes. But what is remaining constant? Angular velocity omega remains constant. Here, in pure rotational motion, angular velocity omega of all the particles remain same as that of the whole rigid body. The whole rigid body itself is undergoing constant angular velocity omega. Then all the particles of that rigid body will have same constant angular velocity omega, but their linear velocities differ. As the distance from the axis of rotation increases, their linear velocity increases. As the distance from the axis of rotation decreases, their linear velocity decreases. What remains same? The angular velocity omega remains same. In translational motion we have discussed, when the body undergoes translational motion along a linear direction, along a straight line or inclined plane, all the particles of the body undergoing translational motion will have the same velocity as that of the entire rigid body. So that is pure translational motion. In a pure rotational motion, all the particles of the body will have same angular velocity as that of the whole rigid body, but linear velocities differ. And look at one more thing, those particles which are lying along the axis of rotation, see this is the rigid body, again if you draw in a rough manner, if you consider any particle, suppose this particle is O on the axis of rotation, then its distance from the axis of rotation is 0. Therefore, linear velocity of this particle on the axis of rotation is, angular velocity remains same, but linear velocity becomes 0 because r value is 0. If the perpendicular distance from the axis of rotation is 0, then linear velocity will also remain 0. So in the next video session, we will learn about angular acceleration. Angular acceleration as rate of change of angular velocity. Angular acceleration is denoted by alpha. Alpha equal to d omega by dt. Alpha equal to d omega by dt. Just like linear velocity, linear acceleration is a equal to rate of change of linear velocity. In the same way, angular acceleration is going to be defined as alpha equal to d omega by dt, rate of change of angular velocity. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.